Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Fractured Realities. Once again, I'm your host, Jay Warner. I have a few different things that I've wanted to talk about, but due to lack of time, I haven't really gotten into too many things. But lately, there's been a very good friend of mine who I've been helping out here and there, and she's a very shy person, so I'm not going to mention her name. Uh, Beautiful person inside and out. Glad to have her as a friend and part of my life. This one's for you. Oh, Mandela. Never mind. All right, here we go. Anyways, um, a lot of us have, especially in the past few years, it seems to be increasing, have done what we call the awakening. Our souls are expanding. We're noticing different things. For those of you who don't necessarily understand this. It's kind of like waking up, and the Matrix is a good example. You wake up and you find out that the reality that you know isn't exactly as it is. That people that you know have changed. That you can't really trust things based on their facade and what you're told and what you've learned in life is maybe partial truth, but not the complete truth. You also find out that things that seem so, I don't know how to put it, phenomenal and crazy and fictional have a basis in truth. Um, and a lot of people, you know, will start to notice that people around them react to them differently after you sort of have this awakening. You'll notice that you have lower energy, lower stamina, that people who are around you literally drain you, and you'll find out that you necessarily the negative energies that come in. It's called being an empath, but you literally absorb the energies of people around you, whether they be good or bad, and this could be a very draining thing on you. I mean, once your soul starts to awaken. Now, the reason that our souls are awakening, I'm no expert in this field, so I'm not going to propose to guess what happened or when it happened or put time frames on it or blame any certain group or organization. Um, but at some point, our energies rose. Okay. And this can be scientifically proven. If anybody wants to do the research, look up something called the Schumann frequency. Okay. The Schumann frequency, I'm not sure exactly when it was discovered, so I don't want to quote it, but I remember reading about this first back in 2012. The Schumann frequency was at 9.87 megahertz. That was every single particulate matter on the planet, whether it's this desk that I'm recording on, this chair, whether it was people, whether it was animals, whether it was rocks, whether it was water, everything had a certain vibrational frequency. And people use this. People use this through music. Like if you hear, when that beat drops and you start to feel great, or when that chorus goes on, and people use that. And we were more of a harmonious culture. Um, and if you've noticed since, well, probably it goes back a lot farther, but around 2013, 2014, these frequencies started to change. And a lot of people have started to experience major depression issues. They've started to experience um, sort of a cognitive dissonance to reality itself. And it's easy when you're going through this to kind of distance yourself. Now, For me, I was in a horrible relationship. I literally lost all my friends. I lost the respect of my family. I started getting health problems. I had a mild heart attack. I had a bleeding ulcer. So yeah, there were a lot of issues. So I knew that it was time for me to make a change. Didn't know how. At first, I just isolated myself. I got a job out of town. I drove 80 miles to work and back from work. I pretty much hid in my bedroom. I watched a lot of videos and just kind of isolated myself from people. And that's honestly part of the awakening process is the pain and self-realization that you have to go through. But over the past few years, I've found ways to help and to develop myself. Um, One thing that I strongly encourage, and a lot of people in the spiritual community are going to get all upset about this, but it's the truth, and this is what worked for me is to stay away from drugs and alcohol. They lower your vibration. But now, okay, I'm veering off a little bit, but back to the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance was also measured, and they measured it, and everything is different. So there's sort of a discordance and vibration. Some people are vibrating lower than before at a 6. Others are vibrating at 15.8 megahertz or higher. There's been some people that have supposedly been recorded at 17s or 21s, I've heard, but I've seen no proof of that. So um, everything's a bit off. You'll feel a bit off. You're going to feel lack of energy. The sun itself seems different. The sky looks fake, watercolored. And this all kind of ties in with the Mandela effect too. But I've done a few videos on this, but there's people who explain this and get into it in more detail. But this isn't a Mandela effect video, even though those who are Mandela affected, as well as those who have decided to step back into nature and step away from society, those who are having a spiritual awakening, who have discovered paganism, shamanism, druidism, different things that are more in touch with nature, more in touch with our genetic ancestry and what we're naturally attuned to, which is we are naturally attuned to the planet. We're naturally attuned to the earth. We are not naturally attuned to stone and brick and steel and skyscrapers. You have to be able to balance out your life with nature. Okay, and like I said before, one of the things that I find that doesn't lower my vibration is the alcohol. I haven't been a drug addict for a long time. I gave that up many years ago. But I gave up alcohol completely. I went into my cabinet. I dumped out every bit of alcohol, including a $60 bottle of Patron. I dumped it all out, and I haven't touched a drop since. That has helped a lot. Another thing that helps too is diet, exercise, of course. Anytime you help your body, you help your soul. You're connected. It's all part of your it. It's all part of what you are. So when you go out and you exercise, when you go take a walk, if you live 2 blocks from the store, instead of burning fossil fuel and driving to the store there and back, walk, go out and enjoy, the beauty of nature and what we have. Get proper exercise. Proper nutrition also helps a lot. Now, I live in a town with only 2 or 3 shopping availabilities, and they're all pretty terrible. Everything's cheese and meat based products mainly, and GMO vegetables, and not very good fresh produce. So it's hard. That I do understand. It's hard, but I have removed red meat completely from my diet. White meat too. I've been a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan. I do eat cheese and I do eat eggs and dairy products. Like I said, it's all baby steps. I'm a work in progress, just like everybody else. I don't claim to be any kind of master or any kind of guru, but I can help people with my examples, with what helps me. What resonates with me might resonate with somebody, and it might not. Um, I've tried to help other people. I've had people come to me with problems, and I've tried to help them, and whether it was because they didn't listen or because the advice that I told them just didn't resonate with them, I wasn't able to assist them. You know, and I've lost people and I've lost friends in my life. But you know, if I could come out there and I can help people, even if I got to be a goofy clown and stand on my head and blow bubbles from my anus to make people fucking smile, that's something. That's something. At least they have that one smile a day. At least they had that one moment of joy. So we can always do something to help. You know, it doesn't have to be earth-breaking, and it's a slow process, and it is painful. It is painful to realize that the people that are around you aren't the people that you thought they are. It is very, very painful to wake up at 3:30 in the morning and just absolutely freak out and not know why, but everything's wrong. You're in a panic attack. You don't know what's what. You don't understand. Well, one thing about that particular time, 3:33 at night, and this has been covered in other videos, but 3:33 at a.m. is when there's the most suicides, when there's the most domestic violence, when there's the most drug abuse, when there's the most drug relapses. And that's because that is when you are physically the furthest away from the sun at that very time, and you are not being fed the nutrients, the sunlight, any melatonin or any dopamine that's left over in your system that you've absorbed from that sunlight is gone. And this is another reason that people are so depressed in the fall, the autumn, um, winter, especially when the weather's cold and you're just disconnected from the sun and you see cloudy skies all the time. I mean, so that's one thing that absolutely does help is go out and get a little bit, even if you have to just stand in your yard. I'm not saying, you know, if you are agoraphobic. You don't want to leave the house. You don't like being around a lot of people, which I have times when I just have to disconnect and hide from people because it's too much. You know, too many different energies coming in, too much negativity, too much sometimes even too much positivity can be overwhelming. You just don't know how to take it. It's an overload, and so people a lot of times will become not necessarily antisocial, but just withdrawn and stay within themselves. And that's when a lot of people start to listen to a lot of videos, YouTube, podcasts, stuff like that, and then they start to dive down the rabbit hole even farther into knowledge and learning. Um, but there are dangers to that as well because anybody can say, I am a scientist, I am an expert, I am a guru, I am an ascended master, I am a star seed. I've heard them all. Just people with this grandiose ego giving themselves grand titles. And a lot of people will buy it, they'll follow them. And I've found that I'm not saying that these people don't exist or that those aren't real things. Maybe in their mind they are, but maybe they are there to take advantage. And people will grasp so heavily onto certain things like the Mandela effect or the flat earth or Tartaria or a lot of other things that they literally kind of lose sight of the whole picture. They lose sight of humanity, and they just dive straight into that rabbit hole. And honestly, I'm not a flat earther. I don't believe in a flat earth. I'm not going to do flat earth debates. I'm not going to bash people who believe that the earth is flat, because maybe for you it is. Reality is subjective. You see it as flat. I see it as round. We're not going to agree. You can come up with any kind of pseudoscience that you want, and I can come up with other science, and we're just going to bump heads on it. I found this out the hard way. But people dive so deep into these conspiracy theories, and I'm just using flat Earth as an example. There's many others. People dive so deep into this that they actually, if somebody questions it or tries to propose a different theory than what they believe, they get violent. They attack because their energies are weakened. They're in the beginning stage of that awakening. They don't really understand anything, and they've found this rabbit hole, and they've dove in head first, and that becomes a lifelong obsession. And and the last thing I'm going to say about flat Earth is this: whether the Earth is flat, whether the Earth is round, whether the Earth is a cigar-shaped spaceship floating through the void, it doesn't make a difference in the long run. It really doesn't matter. What matters is increasing your vibration, increasing yourself as a person, and being able to adapt to the ever changing paradigm that we're living in. Not trying to prove something, and people spend so much time and energy just fighting over these things, and it's really not worth it. Whether the earth is flat or whether the earth is round, at the end of the day, we're still all awakening. There's still a paradigm shift happening, and it has nothing to do with the shape of the earth. It has to do with what's inside of you, what's inside your soul. Now, there are many things that you can do to help with this depression and this anxiety. Like I said, reconnect with nature. There's something called grounding. And I'm sure a lot of people, especially those in the pagan community and the Wiccan community, understand this. Take your shoes off and walk outside. Let the grass hit your bare soles. And it's been scientifically proven that a lot of these negative energies and negative protons that we carry around in us ground out. They go into the earth. They dissipate, and you'll actually will feel a lot better. And another thing that I have, and part of my journey is trying to decalcify my pineal gland. If you don't know what a pineal gland is, it's a little thing that's in front of your brain right here. It's what they call the third eye. No, I'm sorry, I'm not flipping you off. And with this, you can see things better and understand things better, and your powers, your empathy will grow, your spiritual growth will grow. But it can be fucking frightening as well. You can see shadows, you can see ghosts that you didn't think existed. It literally opens you up to another realm, and it's a scary thing to get into. But there are many products on the market that actually help with this. There's hang on for 1 second. I'll actually show you. Okay, this is a product that I use. This is called Mother Earth Alchemy Regal Purple Gold Mana Ormus. Okay, what it is basically, it's a couple different herbs, rosemary, water, but it also has sea salt, which is good for spiritual properties, and it has monatomic gold. Now, the monatomic gold particles actually help fight cancer. They help fight illness, but they also help decalcify. See, this little useless pine nut in the front of your brain that's called your pineal gland turns to stone as you grow older. That's why, as a child, you might see ghosts, you might see spirits, you might see lots of fanciful things, but as you grow older, there seems to be a wall. It seems like a shut off and a disconnect. But like I said, this monatomic gold helps. The grounding helps. Also, the diet, like I said before, avoid alcohol. Alcohol is absolutely worse, in my opinion, than heroin when it comes to lowering your spiritual vibration. Now, many people are going to tell you, "Oh yeah, eat magic mushrooms, do acid, fucking take heroin." They'll give you a lot of information like that and tell you to use drugs. And I'm sorry to say this, marijuana smokers. I was a marijuana smoker for quite a few years. Smoking marijuana does not in any way, at least not in my case, help me with spiritual enlightenment. It will calm me down. It'll put me to sleep. It'll put me in a better mood. It'll make me hungry. If I'm having, problems or digestive problems, it has its medical uses. And I even though I don't personally smoke, I am an advocate of marijuana use. If somebody wants to do it, that is absolutely fine, and that's your choice. But it does not, at least in my experience, promote spiritual growth. Alcohol absolutely stymies spiritual growth. So, you tell yourself, you have to have that drink or you have to have that joint at the end of every day. That's fine. But don't expect results if this is a habit and this is something that you do all the time. Now, I will be the first to admit I'm standing here drinking canned gasoline, sugar, saccharose, garbage. I have bad habits. I still don't eat properly, even though I'm a vegetarian. I still don't eat healthy things or whole grain foods or natural foods like I should. I still drink that. So, like I said, it's a slow process. It's a curve. Nobody's going to overcome all this in a week or a couple of days. There's no miracle products, there's no cures, there's no magic spells that are going to all of a sudden make you a more enlightened being and to just erase the past and the traumas that you have. But there are things that can help. You can do little things every day to assist with that. But one thing that I will cautiously warn against are these people, like I mentioned before, these grandiose people who call themselves enlightened masters, who call themselves shamans, who call themselves druids, who claim to be this and claim to be so far above everybody else. I've seen people talk about frickin' going and hiding in caves and coming to the spiritual enlightenment or realizing that they're a star seed. People talk about twin flames all the time and how this other person is going to cure them. And maybe twin flames exist, maybe they don't. But the problem that I see with these people when you buy the horse shit is that you are looking externally for a cure. This is why I am opposed to organized religion. I don't have a problem with people being religious. I don't have a problem with people believing in a God. Okay. We all have our own spiritual beliefs. So I don't shit on anybody else's. But spiritual beliefs and being part of an organization are two different things. That's the tribalism as opposed to spiritualism. When you have to sit in a pew and you have to be around those people. If you're around those people because you like those people, that's fine. That's good. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be more spiritually enlightened than this person or that person because you sat behind a church pew. especially if you find yourself in constant judgment of other people. The only judgment that you should worry about is your self judgment and how you judge yourself. And if there's something about yourself that you don't like, you simply fix it, or you take the steps, baby steps, one day at a time to fix it. Don't look for gurus. Don't look for ascended masters. Don't look outside of yourself. Don't look for government to help you. Medication, pills, there's no magic pill that's going to cure this. The only thing that's going to cure this is to work on yourself. Meditation, grounding, sun gazing. Believe it or not, if you take this monatomic gold that I've talked about, it actually does help. You can actually literally gaze into the sun, and when you gaze into the sun, this literally it helps your sight, it helps your vision, so you can see things that aren't necessarily clear before. It gives you more clarity of thought, and it helps decalcify that pineal gland. And these are all parts of things that will ascend, that will help you, and that will make you feel better about yourself. And the main thing, that conclusion that I've come to, that made me actually, and this would absolutely fucking frighten somebody to death, but for me, it was actually a relief. I realized that this world, this reality that we live in, is false. This isn't necessarily true. Many theories have been proposed about this. I talked about this with quite a few of my friends. The simulation theory. And even Elon Musk has said that there's like a 99% chance, or 1 in 25 billion chance, that this isn't a simulation. And as a matter of fact, I was speaking to one of my friends, Nora McCarthy, who lives in a different part of the world. She lives in Australia. I live in Big Timber, Montana, which is, pretty much almost as far apart on the globe as you could possibly get. I took a picture of the moon. She also took a picture of the moon. Now think about that for one moment. The moons looked exactly alike, but it's a physical impossibility that the moon could be up on my part of the world and her part of the world at exactly the same time. It just doesn't work like that. That doesn't prove that the earth is flat either, for those of you who are going to jump on that. But it does prove to me that this is an artificial construct that we live in, that we all see things differently, and what we see is our reality. So the more positivity that you put into your reality, the more positive thinking that you do, and the more positive feeling that you do. If you keep telling yourself that you can overcome these problems, you can. If you tell yourself that you could get out there and you could be in a relationship that you could love again. If you tell yourself that you could become more physically fit, if you tell yourself that you could become more personable and be able to deal with people, you can. It's all a personal choice. Personal growth is a personal choice. Okay, now there's also something that you're going to be aware of. As you grow in personal life, you're going to find that a lot of people react to that negatively, especially when you try to help others. You're going to have people call you fake. You're going to have people call you a charlatan. You're going to have people say that you're an Illuminati shill. And one of my friends who I speak to, a personal friend, Kara Winters, who runs the Mandela Effect Researchers Group. I've seen her just recently just be bombarded with these negative people who attack. Whether it's a disagreement that she has with them, and she's always been a very nice person, to me and to anybody else who's willing to. You can have a debate, you can have a discussion, or you can have discourse on a subject. But if you call somebody an Illuminati shill because they don't believe what you say, or say that they're part of some kind of satanic cult or ritual, it's just ridiculous. And she deals with this all the time. And I can tell you, I have personally spoke with her on the phone. I've seen videos of her. We've never met in person, but I've spoken to her many times. She's a very real person. She has a very real life outside of the community. She does things to help people. She actually uses her powers as an empath to help people, and she's actually assisted the police in Canada where she works. She's not a fake person. She's not calling herself a guru. She's not calling herself a psychic. She's not charging people money for readings or things like that. She does have things that she does to make money and to earn money because you have to support yourself, whether this reality is real or not. That doesn't mean I could quit my job and say, hey, I'm going to be a fucking king from Kung Fu and travel the motherfucking world doing good. That doesn't work like that. You have to support yourself. And not just her, but there's other people that I've seen who literally don't try to make money but thrive to help people, and these people are just attacked by these lower vibrational people who don't understand. So you really have to prepare yourself for that. I've been attacked by people too. I've been called the Antichrist. I've been called delusional, stupid, sacrilegious. That's okay. I wear it like a badge of honor. If you want to think that I'm some kind of Illuminati shill, if you want to think that I'm government psyop, whatever you want to think, that's fine. If you want to put horns on me, that's cool. As a matter of fact, there we go. If you want me to be the devil, I'll be the devil. We all have the yin and yang. We all have our good points and our bad points. A lot of the people that are awakening into this reality have had very tragic things happen to them in their life or are going through very tragic things right now. I think that's part of the test. It's part of what we have to go through. We have to be able to deal with those lower vibrations and those lower vibrational people. We have to deal with that negativity. We have to deal with a sense of loss, even if it's a sense of loss of self through a reawakening. It's something that we have to go through. And sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes months, sometimes years. But we can get past this. We can. We can arise. We can come to a better place. Don't demonize those who are trying to help other people. Like, here's another example, Teal Swan. No, I don't know her personally, never met her, but I watched her videos, and all I see is negativity about her. People calling her a Satanist, people calling her a neo-Nazi, and just many, many other rude, nasty things. And literally, she's dedicated her life to try to help other people. And she does help a lot of people and assist a lot of other people. But she's demonized. Why? Because people are told, hey, she's a bad person. She does this, she does that. So what do? They demonize her. They jump in with everybody else. So don't believe everything that you hear. Don't believe everything that you, and definitely don't believe the fucking online gurus. Most of these are people who live in basements or trailers somewhere, people who claim to have knowledge. I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim to be any kind of guru. You know how I help people mostly? I help people through bad examples. Hey, this is the stupid shit that I did. Don't do this stupid shit. This weird shit over here helps. This helps me. Okay, so I do this weird shit, but I avoid this stupid shit over here. Okay, that's my self help. That I like to help people, and if people can be helped, if they can grow, then it's something you have to want. It's something that you have to need. There are steps to do it, and there are people that can help it. There's a video called "Spiritual Awakening." It's a British girl. I can't think of her name. Nikki Sutton, I believe. Very beautiful, very enlightening. She stays very positive, and I stay very positive to a certain extent too. And I try to spread positivity and just make people smile, just to make people happy. You can serve others and still serve yourself. But the one thing that I have an issue with on a lot of these videos and these channels are this whole we are all one. We are one being. We must all come together. No, this is something that has been tried. It's been attempted through communism, through politics, through religions, is trying to get people in line, trying to get people dependent on governments or organizations or churches and not to think for themselves. This removes your individuality, this removes your self help, and literally you're following a guru, you're following a person. And as people, we are flawed, we are fucked up. Okay, all you have to do is work in retail for a couple weeks, and you'll see how fucking crazy people are, or how dense people are, how lower vibrational the majority of the population are. And it's not their fault. That's where they are, and some don't want to accept it and grow, and some do. But if you want to grow, there are people out there who can help. Like I said, I don't mind giving people advice, but I don't claim to be any kind of expert. There's people who know a whole lot more than I do. I don't claim to be any kind of guru, but if I can help somebody with my experiences or with things that I've done, that's fine. But don't ever expect me to give you the love and the light to just set back and allow some deity or some organization or some politician to solve all your problems. Just let it go. That is absolutely the worst advice ever, and that is advice that I will never give to you. You will grow spiritually on your own. You could take advice from people, and if it helps, it helps. If it doesn't help, chuck it in the fucking bucket and move on. You can grow as a person. You can grow. This deep, dark well of despair that you're in right now is not something that is going to last forever. This is temporary. You can dig yourself out of it, but you have to want to. And you have to take the steps. It's not going to fix itself, but you can fix it. The greatest doctor, the greatest healer, the greatest prophet, the greatest deity that you have is yourself. There's nothing that you can't achieve. This world is malleable. That's the essence of magic, and that's the essence of what it is. The world, is it real? Decide on that on your own. But it is malleable. You can't put your intent into making your personal life or your personal existence, your personal reality better. Once you realize that and you start working on it, you'll feel a lot better. You'll smile. You'll find that people react better to you, not those low vibrational people who choose to never change, who choose to do the same thing, who say the same thing every day. Those people, I call them NPCs. Just like when you're in a video game, those people that say one or two things and just go on about their life. And if that makes them happy and that's their lot, that's fine. Don't lower yourself to their standards. Don't hate them for what they are. They just are. They're part of the construct just like you are. They have their place. Whether their place is just to say, hey, how are you doing? And they say, oh, living the dream. Like 99% of the population tells you, yes, you are living the dream. You are living in a dream. You haven't awakened yet. Your soul is some distant little speck of light, but you can let it grow. Do I try to help those people? No, I don't extend my hand to people unless they want the help. If they want help, I'm here for them. I will do anything for my friends, whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's just letting them talk and vent and listening to what they have to say. Because you grow and you help people and you find more people in the community that are like yourself. And a lot of these people have different views on things, different views on politics, different views on the Mandela effect, different views on the flat earth. That doesn't make any of them bad people. And like I said, my friends are varied. They're spread out. They're Christians. They're atheists. They're Jews. They're Muslims. They're Masons. And I don't cast aside any group and say that these people are bad, these people are good, because they're not. We're all individuals. We might share a stream of consciousness. We might come from a lake that flows into many different streams and become a self-conscious part of the whole. Yes, I believe this, but we have individual consciousnesses. We are individual characters. We are individual people. You're living the dream. Yes, you're living your own dream, but dreams are malleable. Become a lucid dreamer. Do those steps. Grow spiritually, and you'll find out that you can make this world beautiful. Even in a world full of shit, there's still roses. Now, I'm going to end this video here because I feel that I'm at the point where I'm starting to prattle on a little bit. But like I said, I love you all. If anybody wants any help or needs anything from me, I'm here. I'm available. I do work 2 jobs. I don't record a lot of content on here now. I don't have a lot of time, but I will always make time for a friend, and I will always make time for somebody in need, because that helps me grow as well. See, we can be symbiotic. We don't need each other, but it's great to have each other around. And for that friend that I mentioned earlier, it is great to have her in my life, and it is great to have somebody to talk to and share my life and my experiences with. And I hope that I can help to assist, or you know, and that we can all grow together. That's the extent. Like I said, I'm no expert, but hey, I love you all. I wish you all the best, and I want to be able to help any way that I can. So if you need me, I'm here. Okay. You all have a great night and continue to grow, continue to stay awake. Don't let anybody dissuade your path, because it's yours, not theirs. Thank you very much. I love you all. Good night.